Good evening, everyone.
Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of North Perth. Our meeting date is Monday, September 16th, 2024. I'm Mayor Todd Kasenberg and I'll call this meeting to order. I ask the clerk to note our starting time for the minutes as 7 p.m. A warm welcome is extended to councillors, staff, delegations, observers, and a whole bunch of young athletes who will participate in this meeting regardless of whether being physically in attendance in the council chamber in Listowel or being connected through web technologies. Before we get started too far here this evening, Councillor Richardson has advised that he's not feeling well tonight, and he's decided it's best not to share that with the rest of us. So he has asked if we would consider a resolution for his remote participation. I have that as follows, that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth permits Councillor Richardson's remote participation at the September 16th, 2024 Council meeting. Can I call for mover Councillor Andreessen, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kellum? Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Welcome, Councillor Richardson. We see you in your little box there. That's how it looks to us. So welcome and participation is available for you. Let's begin the meeting this evening by playing O Canada. Those in chambers as able are invited to stand. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe peoples. We wish to recognize the long history of Indigenous peoples in Canada and show our respect to them today. We recognize their stewardship of the land. May we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship. Tonight's meeting is being streamed live on the Municipality of North Perth YouTube channel and will be available there after this meeting as an archived video. To those who are viewing this meeting via the YouTube channel, a warm welcome to you. To those present in the gallery today by attending a public meeting of the Council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair and/or the clerk have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the interruption or termination of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances when deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior and/or comments. At this time, I invite your decorum over the course of the coming meeting. I have regrets tonight from Councillor Duncan and notification that Councillor Johnston is expected a bit late. It is our pleasure tonight, before we embark on the usual business of council, to recognize excellence in sport in our community. Tonight, we have the pleasure of sharing tokens of celebration and appreciation for the championship performance of the Listowel Legionnaires 15U team, which won the OBA-D provincial championships. And I'm going to come forward. Deputy Mayor Callum is going to help me with the next part of this. All right. So we have another great story of excellence in sport in our community. The Listowel 15U OBA team enjoyed a very successful season this summer. The team completed league play, with 10 straight wins and finished in first place in the Western Ontario Baseball Association League. At the year-end provincial OBA tournament in Mitchell, on the September long weekend, the team won all 5 games they played en route to winning the championship. The team persevered through some close games, coming back from being down 2 runs in the last inning versus Port Lambton, beating Exeter in extra innings by 1 run in the semifinals, and then walking off Mitchell in the last inning of the finals after rallying back from a 2-run deficit in the last inning. It's kind of nice to beat them on their home field, right? They're nodding their heads, yes. It was a great team effort. So we're going to recognize the team members and coaching staff tonight. We have medals here, and Deputy Mayor Kellum will present the medals. I get to be the voice, and here's how it's going to go. We're going to call you up. We'll invite you. He'll put the medal on around your neck, so you can bend a little bit. And then I'm going to shake your hand, and he's going to shake your hand before you get to me, all right? We're going to ask you to come in behind us for the team and the coaches. And before we're done, we're going to invite all of our counselors to come by and shake your hands and congratulate you too. So our team members tonight, if they'd come forward when I call their name, Darren Pentis. You're going to have to duck. You're going to have to duck. He's going to have to duck. Just come in behind me here. Jade Campbell. Congratulations. Austin Gibson. Congratulations. Mason Pence. Congratulations. Noah Kay. Congratulations. Ethan Culling. Congratulations. Cody Frook. Congratulations. Thank you. They realize they have to move. That's exciting. Owen Ottens. Congratulations. Evan Freeman. Congratulations. Preston Walls. Congratulations. Cash Gilbert. Congratulations. Wyatt Raven. Our equipment manager and bat boy was Eli Freeman. Congratulations. And our coaching staff, Scott Walls. Congratulations. Woody Gilbert. Congratulations. Chad Kay. Congratulations. And Chris Raven. Congratulations. I don't reveal it very often. Come on over here. But baseball is actually my favorite sport. I try not to say that too loud in this community because I know there's lots of hockey fans. But anyway, I'm pretty excited to have a baseball team in front of us tonight. We're going to invite our colleagues on council to come around, so they're going to sneak past you there. And they'll shake all your hands. And then afterwards, we'll have a picture-taking opportunity for anyone who wishes to have that to happen. So please, colleagues, come through. That's good. Congrats, guys. All right, so Deputy Mayor Callum and I are going to sneak in here, I think. The rest of our colleagues are going to come in behind us. And if there's photo opportunities, this is your opportunity to come forward.
Want to kind of make 2 rows, maybe, or?
Well, you tell us how the picture looks, and we'll figure out. All right, so let's bring. I know this is a tough one. Let's bring some of the slightly shorter ones forward. It's all right. Did that give us some traction on that side? All right. Yeah, there we go. Can you? All right. We might need one of these hands in the air kind of thing, especially if we can send it to Mitchell. All right, hands in the air, guys. All right. I hope someone got a picture of that. Come on, Kelsey, let's do this. Thank you very much. Mayor McKenzie is getting that sent to him, yes. Kelsey, you owe me a copy of that. Thanks. There we go. All right. I think that's the best part of being a counselor and a mayor is to have those opportunities to share with our community the excellence that we see around us. Um, okay, let's move to agenda item number 5. This pertains to pecuniary interest. Members of council have rich lives with engagement in the community. Sometimes they may find themselves with a potential financial or pecuniary interest in an item at the council table. Provincial legislation mandates that councillors declare this interest and in so doing avoid direct involvement in the consideration or voting on an item. I invite all councillors with a perceived pecuniary interest in any item on our agenda tonight, including those who've already so declared in writing, to verbally advise the chair in public session. Documentation is to be submitted, if not already done, pursuant to council procedures. Councillors may declare now or at any point in the meeting should such interest be recognized. Colleagues, anyone wishing to make a declaration now? All right, I'm not seeing anyone making a declaration, so let's see if we can move forward here. As chair of this meeting, I will manage the flow of proceedings tonight and largely in accord with our agenda and the rules of procedure. Some may be participating remotely by web conference, including Councillor Richardson. Should they wish to speak, they may draw the attention of the clerk to this using the conferencing technology's text chat function. If technical difficulties arise for remote participants, I will advise, and we have Simon with us to send help. Let us now focus on the people's business. Part of that focus is achieved when those in the chamber silence and put away their phones. Regarding item 6 of our agenda, I have a resolution for our consideration to approve the agenda as follows. The agenda for tonight's meeting be approved. Can I call for a mover on this? Councillor Blazek and Councillor Andreessen as seconder. And I actually need to log in because my machine decided to time out. So it happens when you talk too much. All right. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Let's turn to item 7 on our agenda, the so-called consent agenda. Consent items are placed on our agenda because they're believed to be non-contentious, yet they may warrant council's action or recognition. Grouping them expedites our business. However, any councillor wishing to extract an item from the consent agenda for discussion, debate, and individual action may do so. There are 7 items on our consent agenda tonight, including the minutes of our last regular council meeting. Councillors, anything to extract here or any corrections to the minutes that you'd like noted? Councillor Robinson.
Good evening, Mayor Todd, council members of the public and staff. Item 7.7, please. Correspondence from Francis Veilleux regarding the Blue Water Cycling Association.
Okay, noted. Anyone else with items for extraction? All right, let's use our usual procedure. We'll look at these items for extraction first. Councillor Rothwell, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Todd. As North Perth representative on the Blue Water Recycling Association's board of directors, it's my pleasure to draw to this council and public's attention regarding correspondence from Francis Veilleux, our current president and founding president. He's been with us for 35 years. The board of directors had discussions over the summer regarding his pending retirement, and we're pleased to say that the next president of the Blue Water Recycling Association is Michelle Courtney, our current controller. She will be assuming the role of president the first week of November, and I'm sure that it will be a seamless transition. Both Francis and Michelle are working together in terms of knowledge transfer and taking over responsibilities and so on. So this is a very exciting time for the Blue Water Cycling Association. So it's my pleasure to bring that matter to Council's direct attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rothwell. It's been my pleasure to work with Mr. Veilleux over the years. We've even done a video together. Not that we sang, but we did do a video together. So I think while there's still a little bit of runway in his tenure, it's certainly appropriate for me at least to extend best wishes. And I think on behalf of Council, I'll do that at this point in time. Anyone else wishing to extract an item from the agenda before we consider the resolution? All right, I have a resolution as follows: that consent items 7.1 to 7.7 be received for information, and the minutes of the September 9th, 2024 regular council meeting be adopted. Can I call for mover? Councillor Enstedt, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Nordham. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Let's move on then to delegations under item 8 of our agenda. First, it's my usual spiel to remind delegations that in accordance with this council's procedural bylaw, a total time of 10 minutes per delegation is permitted, and that it does include both presentation time and providing an opportunity to councillors to ask a few questions if you can manage that. A delegation is to present on the topic declared on the request for delegation form, and deviations from the topic are generally not acceptable to the chair or this council. Decorum is required. Further to my request that we maintain an atmosphere of respect and courtesy, I'll remind those delegating that they should not use the names of those who have not consented to such use. Tonight we have Mr. Paul Wilston and Ms. Cheryl Hunt, who wish to provide an overview to council on the status of Stratford General Hospital Foundation's fundraising campaign, and invite council to become a donor to their campaign. In the order that you wish to take it, please approach the podium and we'll make sure the microphone's on. Welcome.
Thank you. Set my stuff here. Just making sure I'm organized. I'm good. Okay. So I'd like to take a moment and thank you, Your Honor, and fellow councillor members for allowing the Stratford General Hospital Foundation to come and speak to you this evening about some exciting news. Before we do go into our celebratory message, I, would like to take a moment and celebrate the Listowel Memorial Hospital as well, because we know that you have an amazing hospital here. In fact, we work with the Listowel Memorial Hospital on a few different projects, such as the integrated lab partnership. I'm not sure if councillor members are aware of that, but that's a partnership between 16 hospitals, where the Stratford General Hospital is the core lab. So we work very closely, and it has been celebrated 16 years. And it's the biggest partnership in Canada, so it's pretty amazing. Another thing we like to just bring note that we work closely with Listowel in several different things. For example, when you had your unfortunate fire, the Stratford General Hospital brought some of the patients from the Listowel Memorial Hospital down to provide care. So we do partner with different things with respects to making sure that our community members have amazing care and can stay close to home. So without further ado, we're going to split this presentation up into two parts. The first part is going to be just acknowledging the things that the Stratford General Hospital is aware of or can celebrate. Different things. Here, right? Sorry. Here we go. So some things that people may not necessarily know. So the Stratford General Hospital is a hospital within the Huron Perth Healthcare Alliance. It is accredited with exemplary standing as a proud member of the Huron Perth and Area Ontario Health Team. So again, through that partnership, we work closely with Listowel Memorial Hospital and Wingham as well. So that's a partnership that's generated that allows for service delivery to happen to make sure our community members are receiving great care. Another thing with the Stratford General Hospital is that we're an acute and continuing care hospital. So that means that we are the referral center for the Huron Perth County residents, offering a broad range of medical and surgical inpatient services. This includes our critical care, special care nursery, supported internists with pediatricians, specialists such as urology, ENT, ophthalmology, gynecology, plastics, general, and orthopedics. The Stratford General Hospital also provides mental health, maternal child, complex continuing care, and rehabilitation services. Another thing we'd like to celebrate is that we are the stroke district center for our catchment area. I'll go into detail in a little more about that a little further on in our presentation. We also are a training site. So that is pretty impressive. We work with Western University, with the medical school. We're also a partner of more than my apologies. It's a part of a network of more than 60 communities in southwestern Ontario where medical training takes place. Through these types of distributed education experiences, trainees gain unparalleled exposure to patient health care systems and health challenges. We also work very closely with post-secondary and high school co-ops. So it's a great way to introduce our high school students into the healthcare field, as well as partnering with post-secondary institutions. So things such as having relationships with Western University, Conestoga College, Fanshawe College, Georgian College, McMaster University, Trent University, Lambton College, and Georgian College. We do consolidation agreements with those colleges. And this past year in 2023, we had 138 consolidating students at the Stratford site alone, which is wonderful. And from that, we were able to retain 49 of those nursing students at our site. So it's amazing. So this next slide is about exceptional care provided by exceptional people. So in 2023, these are some of the stats, so you can see how busy the Stratford site has been. So 1,049 babies were delivered, 149 babies were cared for in the special care nursery, 474 children received care in the pediatric unit, 34,763 patients were seen in the emergency department, 9,253 outpatient day surgeries were performed, and 2,073 inpatient surgeries were performed. 81,013 imaging exams were performed, and 804,370 lab tests were performed. So this is where it gets interesting. So here are the next slides are going to celebrate the care that North Perth residents received at the Stratford General Hospital. So as you can see, the inpatient care received by North Perth residents is 8% of our care. So there was 378 patients this past fiscal year that received care. So that's our inpatient area. So that's anything from medicine to continuing care to surgery, things like that. Also, I just want to take note, earlier we saw the big numbers for medical imaging and lab technology, blood work and so forth. That's pretty high because a lot of our patients that are inpatients actually receive that care as well. So that's how can we see those numbers grow. So this is about the stroke care. Earlier I said I would elaborate on the stroke care. So the Stratford site is designated our stroke unit, which means that we're the site that when the paramedics receive a call, a 911 call, and it's presented as a possible stroke, those patients are sent to the Stratford site to receive stroke care or stroke intervention. So at the Stratford site, you're able to identify if it is a true stroke, and from there, identify next steps. If there's a drug that can be administered at that time, or if there's surgeries that can be provided to the patient. So there's a few steps in stroke care. There's the acute care. So those are our patients who have suffered a stroke and need immediate care. And then there's rehabilitation care that happens thereafter. So these two graphs that we see up on the screen right now are just communicating the inpatient aspect. And then there's continuous care outside with the stroke program, and that's the community-based stroke program. But these are just communicating inpatient care right now. So when we look at our acute care for our stroke patients, we can see that 16% of our care were to North Perth residents. And then when we look at the rehabilitation aspect, we can see that 28% of our care were to North Perth residents. So the MRI, here, another, we can see that 11% of our care, so 175 patients received an MRI exam. Outpatient surgical services, so we can say 8% of our surgeries provided, so that was 456 surgeries were received by North Perth residents. Cancer care received, so here we can see 3% of North Perth, so 34 treatment visits were by North Perth residents. Maternal child, this is always a fun slide to look at. So we have the obstetrics and the pediatrics. So from the obstetrics standpoint, you can see that North Perth had 98 babies born. So it's 16% of our babies at Stratford. And then if we look at our pediatrics patients, we can see 11%. So 28 patients for our pediatrics. And that's highlighting the care that's been received at the Stratford site. And now I'm going to turn it over to Paul Rolston, who is going to speak with respects to the In Our Hands capital campaign.
Thanks, Cheryl. Yeah. Again, thank you to everyone for having us here this evening to speak to you about our project going on down in Stratford. Professionally, I worked as a pharmacist in Stratford, as a community pharmacist for 35 years. So I sold my business there in 2002, and at that point, I actually came up to Listowel and worked here for a year and a half, just across the river at 210 Wallace with the pharmacy team there. And during that time, I got to know a number of the physicians, and I have nothing but good things to say about the medical team here in Listowel. The people of North Perth are well cared for, and but you can also see that the people of North Perth do need to access Stratford General for care at some point during the year. So this brief video here that Cheryl's going to play for us takes about maybe 2.5 minutes, and it just illustrates for us the importance of donors with respect to the operation of our hospital or any hospital in general. So. So as the video says, without our donors, we really have nothing. All the equipment within the hospital has to be fundraised for. The government does not provide funding for equipment within the hospital. Every piece in the hospital is there because donors cared. So the future, that's a bit about the past, but our future is in our hands. We rely on the generosity of our community to help us keep the latest tools and equipment in the hands of our medical practitioners. And it also serves as a recruiting tool for the doctors coming out of med school. They want to work with the equipment and procedures and techniques that they've been trained on. And if we can have that available for them, we're more likely to recruit them to our team. Moving on, Cheryl, if you would. So our current campaign, which we launched back in 2022, the campaign goal is $30 million, and you can see how it breaks down there. Half of that number, 15 million, is dedicated to cancer care and medical clinic with a co-located pharmacy. The need to relocate the pharmacy adjacent to the cancer treatment clinic within the hospital is necessitated by the medications that we will now be able to administer at Stratford. And the exciting news is that this part of the project should be complete at some point this fall, certainly before Christmas. The next biggest area is 8.5 million, which is dedicated to just simply replacing equipment within the building. The lifespan on medical equipment is about 8 to 10 years. So the list is, there's always a list, but that's the current list. 4 million dedicated to lab improvements, which, as Cheryl mentioned, does include processing for the Listron site. There's $1 million dedicated towards mental health programs and a refurbishing of our inpatient mental health unit at Stratford Hospital. Also $1 million dedicated for staff training and education, and $500,000 to improve and update the communication stations throughout the building. So this is an exciting campaign in that it touches pretty well every department in the building, and will improve the experience really of every patient coming through the building. So again, Cheryl, if you could advance. So to date, this is the last 5 years, that 395 represents the number of gifts that have been donated to Stratford General Hospital Foundation by the residents of Perth North, and the 124 is the total of those gifts that we've received over the last 5 years from residents of North Perth. However, not everyone's able to contribute individually. Cheryl, if you would. So today we ask that the municipality of North Perth consider an investment of $200,000 in support of Stratford General Hospital's In Our Hands campaign. Again, thank you for your time and attention here this evening. And if you have a few minutes, we have a few minutes for any questions you might have.
We'll keep it really brief. We're certainly a little over time here. Colleagues, I'd entertain one priority question at this point, if you have one. Anyone? Okay, Councillor Andrews.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Kasenberg. And this question might be for our CEO. Have we donated to Stratford General Hospital Foundation in the past?
To my knowledge, since I've been here, no. But I can go back previous to my time in North Perth and get back to council.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else with a short question? All right, I'm not seeing any. Thank you for your presentation tonight.
Thank you very much.
Colleagues, is there a will of council at this point in time? Anyone wishing to suggest a strategy here? In response to this, Councillor Andreessen, go ahead.
I would just like to thank the Stratford General Hospital Foundation for making the presentation. I can speak personally about my experiences at Stratford Hospital. I know I have been a patient there a number of times for different services. And in fact, my granddaughter was born there this spring. So Stratford does service our residents a great deal, and at the same time, I totally respect that our own hospital here is near and dear to our hearts for sure. I'm just wondering if even during the budget process we look at some ability to donate. I don't know what the capacity is, and 200,000 is a big figure, and I'm not suggesting that figure, but I'm wondering if we at least look at some ability to support this campaign through the budget process. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Andreessen. Did you want to make a motion then to refer this to Budget Committee for consideration?
Yes, I would make that motion. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So moved by Councillor Andreessen, seconded by Councillor Rothwell. Thank you. Any discussion or debate? I'm not seeing any. Clerk's table, are you with us? All right, let's have a vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Again, thank you to our guests this evening. I'm going to invite Councillor Johnston to come up. He's been sitting patiently through the last delegation, the last section of the agenda. So welcome, Councillor Johnston. Let's turn to item 9 on our agenda. And first, we'll go to item 9.1, reports from the Facilities Department. Tonight, in item 9.1.1, Council is invited to report a contract resulting from a properly implemented procurement process via proposal to vendor Axia Design Associates related to the refurbishment of the Elma Memorial Community Center. Mr. Newell has taken his place at the podium and he's going to tell us more about this. He's the manager of facilities. Mr. Newell, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of council. Yes, just further to what the mayor said, we did a request for proposals for the Elma Memorial Community Center to provide services for architectural and engineering design, preliminary design, detailed drawings, and contract administration. We had intentions of having 3 different components of the process bid collectively into it. So there was 3 sections, sections A, B, and C. The first section was a detailed design and consultation. So what that would involve is working with our stakeholders, which would be public, community groups, staff, in order to come up with a wish list and a need list, and then come up with project specifications and estimate of a construction cost. Section B was construction and tender administration, and the purpose of that is it covers preparing construction drawings. So the notion being that the architect who did the preliminary design would do construction drawings and specifications, and then would administer the tendering process with the help of the municipality. And finally, Section 3 we thought would be beneficial to have a project oversight through contract administration and project management. That would be the same firm throughout all 3 aspects of the architectural process. Once we received the bids, they were all over subscribed as far as a dollar figure. We had set aside $70,000 for the process, and there was a very wide range. We decided to go with Axia Design because they were one of the lower bids on it, and with the good submission for their RFP documentation. So what happened is we've decided that we cannot do all parts of A, B, and C of this process, so we would like to go with an A and B. And then our hope is that if council decides to go ahead with the contract and the renovation to the EMCC, then we would engage at that point for level C, and who knows who would bid on that, but it could be the people or the firm that has number 1 and number 2. So that being said, the project is over budget by $10,725 for us to have Section A and Section B considered. That's the recommendation, and that Section C in the amount of $29,000 would be approved contingent upon council's approval of the EMCC construction works. Be happy to answer any questions that may be had.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Newell. Colleagues, any questions or first comments on this matter? Councillor Rothwell.
Thank you, Mayor Todd. Council, thank you, Jeff, for your report. Is there any idea in terms of time frame that this A and B would take?
I think this would end up being the A part would be the remainder of this year anyhow, and then into next year would be the detailed drawings would be the second part.
Thank you. And just further, I know council's aware, and certainly Jeff, you're aware as well, in terms of Atwood Lions and their presentation to this council regarding the importance of the Elma Memorial Community Center and their decision to financially support. I presume, well, I hope that we've had conversations with them here to keep them abreast of our project here. Is that true?
At this point, no, we haven't had conversations with them. We needed to get into the process as far as having the notion of an architect in mind and an engineering firm set up, and then we will engage them in the needs and wants exercise as well as key stakeholders to the project.
And just the last point, so I'm sure you're aware of the work that was done as part of the submission that North Perth made regarding potential provincial funds to assist with the project. That we had some preliminary architectural work that was bringing in the library as part of the rejuvenation of the EMCC. Well, and I realize that part of that is out of the scope, but at least will some of that work be part of the discussion and background work for this project?
Yeah, when we involve our stakeholders, staff would be a part of that. So the library would be someone that we would consider because it's a community service as well. That might be able to piggyback on that facility in some way. Set 7 certainly would be involved in it. Funeral services, lots of different stakeholders that could come to the table for that. Yeah.
Okay, anyone else with questions or comments? Councillor Johnston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My apologies for being late. Jeff, during Section A, when we're talking to the stakeholders, the wants and needs and stuff, if it is determined that a complete rebuild is everything on the table here instead of a renovation or a redo, if it's determined that the building is outdated and in rough shape?
Yeah, I think that's always on the table with any of our rejuvenation projects that we have. If the numbers make sense, then we would follow through with something along that lines. But it's certainly that would be a council decision. But we need to have some of this pricing done in advance so we know if we're if we're going down the right path.
Okay, thank you. I'll offer the sort of wry observation that when you look at our capital forecast for the next 10 years, a new building in Atwood is not in the works, from my opinion. But certainly thank you for at least having it in the considerations available to the consultants. All right. Any further comments, discussion on this one? I have a resolution for the award of this contract as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth awards request for proposal NT-033-24P consulting services for EMCC facility renovation design for Section A and Section B to Axia Design Associates Inc. of Toronto, Ontario, in the amount of up to $80,725 excluding taxes, and further that Section C in the amount of $29,625 excluding taxes be approved contingent upon Council's approval of EMCC construction works. Do you understand where we're going with that? Okay. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Rothwell, thank you. Councillor Johnston as our second, pardon me. Any discussion or debate? All right. Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Let's turn now then to one item from the Operations Department. As item 9.2.1, Council is presented with a report recommending speed limit reductions on portions of 987 and 88 in the Wallace Ward. It would appear that things are a bit speedy along the proposed segments where a reduction in speed limit is now proposed. Mr. Couch, our Manager of Operations, is with us to provide an overview of actions that are proposed at this time. Mr. Couch. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Kissenberg, members of council. We've done speed studies and some traffic monitoring in these areas around Listowel and the perimeter roads. When we rebuilt line 84 in the south, we posted it at 60 kilometers per hour because of its urban area, the amount of traffic on the road, and also the amount of driveways and other turning movements that are in that section. We looked at line 87, although it's not rebuilt, and we find the same level of turning movements, in fact, more on the eastern leg that you'll see here, but also on the western leg, and we have the Optimus Park on the western leg. So the suggestion is to reduce the speed because after the studies, it's written in the report 91 to 95 kilometers per hour for the 85th percentile. That means that 85% and down of the drivers are driving those rates, but they're slightly higher than what we'd like to see with a posted 80, and they're certainly higher than what we want in the urban environments that we're outlining here. So the recommendation for 87 is to reduce to 60 out to the far end of Optimus Park and out to the far edge of Listowel Farm Supply on the east side. Similarly, on line 88, the picture shows the area where we've rebuilt the bridge, widened the road slightly, and put in better shoulders up to and just past the cemetery. I think that's 639 meters till when you hit the 50 km per hour zone. There are speeding issues and many comments from the residents along that corridor. Addressing this has also been recommended by the engineer when they redid the profile and contour of the road, said it should be a suggested lower speed. So that recommendation is in front of you as well for that section of road. These will relate to changes in the traffic bylaw showing them as lower speeds, and the signs can be put up immediately.
Thank you, Mr. Couch. Perhaps we should be promoting those roads as tourism attraction for speedways or something. I don't know. All right. Sorry, a little wry humor. Let's ask questions, first comments on this. Councillor Nordum.
Thanks. Thank you, Mayor Kiesberg. Thanks for the report, London. Just curious on section 3 of line 88. Is there much of a change in the new design from the old design? I'm just kind of curious why it goes from an 80 to a recommended 60, considering there's no houses or it's more just an open section to my mind. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. It's the contour of the road and the hill. It wasn't changed that much. There's a slight drop in the hill in relation to the bridge, which is slightly higher by about a half meter to a meter. Even that's being set at 80 kilometers an hour as you crest the hill. The engineer's recommendation as they study the profile of the road, it doesn't give you much visibility ahead. And because of that, they suggested that it be reduced to that speed in that area. It's following traffic guidelines that they would use. And because we had it engineered, they made the comment that a speed reduction would be recommended. As I have said, though, we've seen some pretty significantly high rates of speed in that corridor. Right now, it's under construction. It's going to stay in gravel through the winter. This could be monitored, and whoever follows me might look at this next summer once it gets paved and see if that's appropriate. But I think it is just based on the engineer's comment and road profile.
Okay, thanks. My comment would just be, if drivers aren't respecting the 50, I'm not sure if they will respect much of the 60 either. I kind of disagree with the engineer at this point, so I would put a motion forward to support section 1 and 2, but maybe exclude section 3.
Let me call for. Did you want to make comments before I call for a seconder on this?
I have spoke to the police about these types of changes on 87 and 88 as well. It doesn't allow the enforcement, even though we see traffic wanting to go the speed, and this is talking about the traffic consultants that comment on these things. They want to drive the speed for a section, and they're not respecting the limit by reducing it in an area which forces you to change from the 80 to the 60 and then the 50. Hopefully we'll have slower speeds in town as well, but it's going to take that enforcement. We'll use our radar signs to educate people as well, and we'll work with the police on it. But I agree, people disregarding these open sections, but we really want them to be slowed down by the time they get into the village, and this will provide that opportunity as well, or hopefully at least a bit better of an incentive, even if they don't obey.
Okay, Thank you, Mr. Couch. So we have a motion on the floor. Did you want to offer comment or second? Comment. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you through you, Mayor Kasenberg, and thank you for your presentation, Lyndon. Um, there is a house right along the area that they are suggesting, and they do have a child. And I've spoken to the family, and it's very hard to see the bus stopped there because of the hill. And so coming out of the small community and up that hill, like Lyndon was suggesting, the engineer was referring to, I support the idea of making those changes because there's buses stopped along that way, and I know that bus safety is a priority for this council.
Thank you, Councillor Blazic. Anyone else? Sort of violating a little bit of parliamentary procedure because we have a mover, but we're waiting on a seconder here. But everyone wants to jump in. So, okay, Councillor Rothwell, do you want a second?
Thank you. Just a comment, if I may. The suggested reduction on line 87, I think, as I read and understand, it's already in a community safety zone. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So I certainly agree with that. I am concerned about the enforcement piece of all this. Community safety zones, again, are in place for areas where you have either schools or in this case, parks and so on. So you'll have people coming and going. And it's expected that the motoring public will obey that on behalf of public safety. Clearly, based on your information, they're not. And from an enforcement standpoint, perhaps we can have our OPP have further enforcement in those areas, especially during times when the parks in more use, so baseball and soccer seasons in particular. But we have a fantastic new play structure, so frankly, I think we're going to see more people using that on an ongoing basis. So I know this area better than line 88. I certainly know that as well. But line 87, I think this is a crucial issue and moving forward. And then hopefully, if council agrees, that we can have that discussion with OPP. And if it is, as you said, Lyndon, having the speed awareness signs, we'll call them, if that would help, then I'm certainly all in favor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Rothwell. So let's just go back to where we are. Councillor Nordum has made a recommendation, proposed a motion that would, I think, strike line 88 from this.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So do I have a seconder for that? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone. I'm not sure people are aligning with that thinking at this point. Anyone want to second this last call here? Okay, so why don't we consider the original resolution and move forward through processes there. We have a resolution then recommended to us as follows. The Council of the Municipality of North Perth amends traffic bylaw 47-PW-2000 to reflect speed reductions as listed in the report on line 87 and on line 88. Can I call for a mover on that one? Councillor Blazek, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Hanstead, thank you. Any discussion or debate further on this? Councillor Nordum?
Just to echo my point, I'm full support for section 1 and 2, but I'll dispute section 3, so that's why I'll be voting against this motion. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to make comments on this before we consider the resolution? I'm not seeing any, so let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Couch. Let's consider reports from the Development and Protective Services Department. This is item 9.3 of our agenda. As item 9.3.1, Council is invited to forward a recommendation to approve with a collection of conditions to the County of Perth Land Division Committee or its delegated authority related to an application requesting consent to sever lands in the Wallace Ward of the municipality of North Perth, owned by parties Pumpenhauer at 6792 Perth Line 88. County of Perth planner Nathan Garland, who works on North Perth files, is with us to provide an overview and recommendation. Welcome again, Planner Garland. We love to see your face here.
Thank you very much, Mayor Kasenberg, members of North Perth Council. I am here to present application B3824. It is for surplus farming severance requested by the owners and applicants, Matthew and Amy Kopenhauer. As noted, the address is 6792 Perth Line 88. And then just an outline of the subject location, just at the northern edge of Wallace Port. Next slide, please. Oh, I see the slide, sorry. Just an outline of the requested severance application. So some places refer to this as a reverse severance. So what's happening is the applicants are requested to stay on the farm. They are requesting to sell the remaining farmland to a qualified buyer. So the future farmland would be owned by a agricultural operator, a larger agricultural operator in the area. There is a requested condition on that severance application that requires them to file formally that that land is being transferred. They have submitted the initial documentation just saying it's happening, so this deal is in place for this to go through, subject to the council's consideration. So just an outline of the proposed requested area. So the proposed requested size is approximately 1.15 hectares or 2.84 acres. It does include the house, septic system, and a number of outbuildings on the property. Just for council's note and consideration as well too, there is an existing barn on the property. One of the conditions is also noted that a consideration for modification of the use of that barn to allow only for storage. So it wouldn't allow for the location of animal husbandry or having animal use in there. So the requested, this would now be the severed land, so a little bit of the reverse is 40.17 hectares or about 99.26 acres. So that's the land that's being sold to the qualified buyer. There's an aerial photo of the subject land, so just it's a bit of an irregular shape, just about an angle there, not quite perfectly square, but it does align with the road and the frontage requirements. Then the natural environment's not changing. As noted for council, there would be a requirement for the land to be rezoned to an A1 special zone for the subject property. That's to prohibit any kind of, to recognize the existing house on the property and to allow for such. And then there would be a requirement to rezone the sold or the severed farmland to prohibit a house from being located on that property in the future. No concerns or comments have been expressed by any of the neighbors or agencies. Just as council's consideration, the farmland is to be transferred to a neighboring farm owner, so they have reached an agreement with the neighboring farmer owner, CRC Holsteins Limited. They do have a house that are located at 6819 Perth Line 88. It's close to right across the road, just a little bit kitty corner to the existing house, so it is in very close proximity to that as well, too, just for council's consideration. Servicing is to remain private, so there is no cell well and septic on subject land. And then just as noted, also the barn is to be repurposed for storage only. Just a couple pictures of the house in the area. That's from line 88A. You see the barn is there, then there's a shed at the back. There's the side profile of that. And then there's the front is just looking at Perth Line 88 just on the driveway there. So severance line just to the right of that, and then further over to the left as well to just incorporate the trees around that property also. For council's consideration, the policy summary, this is supported by both the provincial policy statement and the Perth County official plan. As noted, there is a requirement in the zoning bylaw or the Perth County official plan to rezone for this subject land, so there will be a rezoning coming forward in the future should council choose to support this. And then staff are recommending approval of the application, and I'm happy to address or answer any questions at this time. I also wanted to note the applicants are in the attendance as well, too, just to show support.
Thank you, Mr. Garland. Colleagues, questions, first comments on this? Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Nathan. A question about the barn. Is there currently any livestock in the barn?
I can't speak, and I might defer to the applicants if that's up to council, but I don't believe so. I currently believe it's just being used for storage. I'm not aware of any animal uses in there. That's correct. I need a thumbs up from the applicants also.
Okay. Anyone else with questions or first comments before we consider the resolution? All right, resolution as follows. The Council of the Municipality of North Perth recommends that the Perth County Land Division Committee or its designate approves consent application B38-24 and that the Municipality of North Perth Council forwards the conditions listed in the staff report dated September 16, 2024, affecting the property legally described as Lot 51 and 52, Concession 5, Wallace Ward, in the municipality of North Perth, 6792, Perth Line 88, to the Perth County Land Division Committee or its designate. Can I call for a mover on this? Councillor Hanstead, thank you. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Kellum, thanks. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. All right. For item 9.2.3, we have another severance here. Council is invited to forward a recommendation to approve with a collection of conditions to the County of Perth Land Division Committee or its delegated authority related to an application requesting consent to sever lands in the Wallace Ward of the municipality of North Perth owned by Parties Brisbane at 5536 Perth Line 89. County of Perth Planner Mr. Garland, who's already been talking tonight, is still with us and going to present again so that we can learn about this proposal. Mr. Garland, the floor is again yours.
Thank you very much, Mayor Kusenberg and members of North Perth Council. I'm here to present another surplus farm severance application. This application is B3224. The owners are Doug and Brenda Brisbane, and the applicant and agent, Evan and Kevin Fallis. Sorry. The location of the subject lands is 5536 line 89. So the requested severance size is approximately 1.9 acres in size. The retained lands proposed are approximately 39.5 hectares or 97.6 acres. The subject requested severance is fairly square in nature, so it's actually a perfect square that fits in the very corner there. For council's note and consideration, there was a barn on the aerial photos provided. That barn has since been removed, so there is no barn on the subject property, just the house and the existing outbuilding. As mentioned, that requested severance area is at the very southern west corner of the property. The requested rezoning is it will eventually be an A1 special for the severed house, and then also an A2 special for the retained lands. That's just to prohibit any kind of house to be located, and then also to recognize the house to be located in an undersized agricultural lot for these severed lands. No concerns or comments were expressed by any of the agencies or public on this applications. Just for council's considerations, the owner of the land, they do own it in farm to the east of this. They reside at 8944 Road 152, which is just to the east. Servicing is to remain private, and then just for council's note again, the barn has since been removed, so there is no barn on the property to address. Just a picture one photo of the subject land. So that's the house with the existing outbuilding at the front of the property there. Yeah, just a little bit of a different framework, but that's the summation of the buildings and structures on the property for that property. And then, as mentioned also for council's consideration, this is supported both for the provincial policy statement as well as the Perth County official plan through the surplus farming severance consideration. There would be a rezoning requirement as a condition of this consent application, so it would come back for council's consideration to rezone. Also, just a note for council, the applicants and agents weren't able to attend tonight because they had previously booked their travel arrangements, so they were not available locally. They did provide a letter to council, and I understand that was distributed through the clerks earlier. So Perth County staff are recommending approval of the application as it does meet the policies. I'm happy to address or answer any questions at this time.
Thanks, Mr. Garland. Colleagues, questions or first comments on this one? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so I'll read the resolution as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth recommends that the Perth County Land Division Committee or its designate approves consent application B32-24, and that the Municipality of North Perth Council forwards the conditions listed in staff report dated September 16, 2024, affecting the property legally described as Lot 16, Concession 7, Wallace Ward, in the Municipality of North Perth, 5536, line 89, to the Perth County Land Division Committee or its designate. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Hanstead will move. Councillor Rothman will second. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. All right. That Thank you very much, Mr. Garland, for your service. Next, let us consider reports from Corporate Services Department under item 9.4 of our agenda. We have exactly one as follows. Item 9.4.1, Council is invited to approve its schedule of meetings for the 2025 calendar year. This is prepared by the clerk's team, and we welcome interim clerk Sarah Carter to present the options and answer any questions. Clerk Carter, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Kasenberg, through you. The purpose of the report in front of you tonight is to seek Council's approval of the 2025 Council meeting schedule. Approving an annual meeting schedule supports the legislative process for Council meetings and provides accountability and transparency to the public. In our procedure bylaw, the following principles outlined or help guide the development of the proposed meeting schedule. So regular council meetings shall be held at 7 p.m. on the first and third Monday of each month. And when a regular council meeting is scheduled on a statutory holiday, the meeting will be held on the next available Monday. Following the above noted principles, in 2024, we had 6 council meetings held on consecutive weeks, and we did have one instance of a 3-week break in between council meetings. Consecutive meetings make reporting deadlines difficult to achieve for staff who may receive a request for additional information to be provided at the next council meeting. Additionally, a 3-week break between council meetings does have the potential to impact municipal operations if staff need council approval to proceed. Having noted these 2 concerns, we've prepared 2 options for council's consideration tonight. So option number 1 follows the principles established in the municipality of North Perth's current procedure bylaw. So following the principles, we would end up with consecutive meetings, January 27th, February 3rd, February 24th, March 3rd, April 28th, March 5th, May 26th, June 2nd, and September 8th and September 15th. Next year, if we followed this schedule, we would have no breaks longer than 2 weeks. So we've also included a modified option 2, which would not follow the principles established in the bylaw. There's in section 4.3 A and B. If we chose option 2, there would be no meetings scheduled for consecutive weeks, and we would have no breaks longer than 2 weeks. So as part of implementing the new procedure bylaw, staff have continually been monitoring the functionality of the procedure bylaw, and we do have a few housekeeping amendments that we're planning to bring forward. So if council did choose option 2, an amendment to section 4 of the bylaw would come forward to council in an upcoming report. And I am happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Clerk Carter. Councilor Andreessen.
Thank you to you, Mayor Kasenberg. I just want to thank the clerk's department for preparing this report. I know I've been asking for that a little bit earlier in the year, and I really appreciate you putting this forth, so that's great. My preference would be to agree with what you're proposing, and that would be to go with option 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else with the questions or first comments for Clerk Carter on this? Councilor Johnston.
Just a comment, and I think option 2, you've done a great job of trying to spread the meetings out. And I know as governance committee, we worked hard to get down to the 2 meetings. And it was going to be when we had those 3-week breaks or the back-to-backs, it was a bit of an issue for scheduling, trying to keep things flowing smoothly. It just will seem weird on some of the first Mondays of a month to not be sitting here, though, after a number of years of the first Monday of every month. You're always here. Yeah. So, but I do agree. Option 2, I think, really spreads it out, and I think it will be much better for staff to schedule and keep things. I need to. If I'm here on the first Monday next year in September or not, or whatever month it is, I'll just skip the next council meeting. But I think it's a great option. So thank you for the work.
Was that a promise or a threat? Or a promise. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Thanks for the comment. It is a little different, but Councilor Blazek, please.
Thank you through your mayor. And this is just sort of supplementary to Councillor Johnson's comment. When the governance review committee sat down and we were discussing this, we did say that, you know, like, let's give it a try and revisit it again in the new year. So I know it's not the new year yet, but thank you to the clerk's department for keeping tabs on this. You know, we were waiting to see if this would work or if we would find any flaws in the system. We've clearly found some flaws in the system. So I support revisiting that absolutely. And in the meantime, going with option B seems like the best option.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else with comments on this one before we consider it? Okay. So I have a resolution as follows, that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth authorizes a variance for sections 4.3A and B of the procedure bylaw and approves the 2025 council meeting schedule option 2. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Blazek, thank you. We should make sure Councillor Richardson is involved here. Councillor Richardson, would you be the seconder for this?
I would love to second that. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, we've not been too attentive that way, but seconded by Councillor Richardson. Any discussion or debate? Councillor Edson.
Sorry, thank you, Mayor Mercury. And sir, I'm sorry if I missed it. Just the point about the future meeting. Do we have an idea when that'll be brought back for more information?
I'm hoping to have it back in October. There's a couple of budget items I'm going to talk to the treasurer about before it comes back.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? It's duly moved and seconded. Let's have that vote. And that is carried. And if you need a hug, Councillor Johnston, I'm good for it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, let's turn to item number 10 on our agenda. At this hour, does anyone wish to request reports of staff or of our committees? Deputy Mayor Callan.
Yes, through you, Mayor Caseberg. Not a request for report, but a report. I'd just like to share a little snippet. This past Friday, Mayor Caseberg, myself, and Councillor Duncan received an email from John McClellan, the Executive Director of Public Works. It's for Mr. Martin here, that Perth Line 88 and Road 178, known as Main Corners. This is a boundary section with Huron County, and through our boundary agreements, Huron maintains this intersection. Public Works staff reached out to Huron County to discuss the consulting review for the intersection and offered to lead this review with a 50-50 split cost. Huron County has recently notified us that they are in agreement. We have engaged a consultant engineer to conduct the assessment and review. We anticipate that the review will be completed this fall and will follow up with a report. So if something comes, we'll let you know.
Thank you. And certainly on their own initiative, actually, they decided to act on their own from the resolution that was received, the letter that was received from North Perth. So I think that's excellent news for the community, and look forward to seeing what the engineer's report brings forward on that. Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Let's turn to item 11 then. We haven't received any other items of correspondence. Oh, Councillor Rothwell wants to request a report.
Thanks very much, Mayor Sods. I was trying to get your attention. With the county fishery plan pending approval here later this year, I would like if staff could start a report looking at options that this council can consider regarding potential lands that North Perth owns for residential development and specifically for affordable attainable housing and how we're going to do that. And I would like the reason for this request for the report now is that I believe that time is ticking and we need to take the opportunities that are before us to look at options which this council could consider to get projects moving forward sooner rather than later. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rothwell. So I'm going to consider that you've made a motion to direct staff to prepare a report to this end. I think you get the general gist of the intention of the report. I'm sure that you know, and I'm feeling like Captain Obvious saying this, but the new zoning bylaw will take at least a year after the approval of a new official plan, and then some probably. municipality, right? So there'll still be some headaches in play, I think, with regards to zoning that lines up with the OP, at least as I understand the process. Did you wish to offer comment on that, given your professional expertise?
Thanks, Todd. My issue is even before zoning is how North Perth wants to consider the development of its lands. And that would be through whether a plan subdivision or some other sort of land development process that we're going to consider. And then the municipality, if it chooses and gets approval for such development, then the zoning would follow that. So I want us to, council, to consider options through staff that we can look at what potentials that we do have as the municipality, whether we develop ourselves or we sell, offer for sale, or any other options that are laid out by staff before us. That's my issue that I would like to see staff assist council on that.
Thank you. Can we just inquire of CEOs now before we move to a secondary with regards to a resolution of this nature? How much support will we need from the County of Perth to achieve completion of a reasonable report on this subject matter?
I don't think a whole bunch of support from the county. Certainly will consult with the county planner. I assume the lands that Council Rothwell is mostly inquiring about is what we refer to as the Bidding Street lands around the Steve Kerr Memorial Complex. We did have a capital project to in 2024 to look at the development of those lands. That process has started. We are waiting for some information from our engineer at this point, but we will be bringing something forward to council in the near future, and so that we can add the comments asked by Council Rothwell tonight in his report.
Do we continue with full direction on this, or do you want to leave to the staff the augmentation of the report that's already in progress?
Through you, Mayor, if I believe that we could continue. I'm not trying to add additional burden or to reports, but if something is an option, maybe it's an interim report that's going to share some light. And this is also in just prior to the housing symposium, which is scheduled for next Monday, I believe it is the 23rd, which is looking at all kinds of different options, as I understand, down in Stratford. So I think it would be helpful just to. Because this council has shown directly its desire to help and support and facilitate this type of development, and we being a municipality that is unlike many others, actually does own land that once the county official plan hopefully is approved with the way it is, we would be looking at residential development at least on a significant portion of the lands that we own. So.
Okay, thank you. So it doesn't sound like you want to actually add a resolution, because the staff is already working on this, and we'll just take note of the augmentation to your end, to your purpose.
Fair enough. I'm willing to withdraw that on the basis that perhaps we have an interim report that's going to show us where the direction would be. That's my issue. And as I say, we've got a lot of work ahead of us. There's no doubt, and I just want to make sure that staff and council are working hand in hand, so we know which path that we're going to follow. That's
Okay.
all. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, CEO, so now I'm going to assume you've taken note of the request. Any other report requests this evening? Let's turn to item 11 then. We have not received any additional items of correspondence that warrant our attention besides that received and addressed in the consent agenda this evening, which means we can turn to consideration of bylaws that have been recommended to us for action. Tonight there are two bylaws for consideration. The enabling resolution outlines each bylaw by their number and general purpose. And so I have that before me, but before I read that resolution, does anyone wish to extract one or both of these for individual consideration? Anyone? Okay, not seeing that. So I have a resolution then for our consideration as follows: that Bylaw 51-2024, being a bylaw to provide for drainage works in the municipality of North Perth, be read a third time and be finally passed, and that the following bylaw is hereby passed: 82-2024, being a bylaw to amend Bylaw 47-PW-2000. That's the traffic changes that were proposed earlier in our meeting. Can I call for a move? Councillor Johnston, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Andreessen. Any discussion or debate on this one? Seeing none, let's have that vote. Thank you. And with that, we have the full accounting of council, and that is carried. Thank you. Let's have a look now at item 13 on our agenda. Colleagues, any of you wish to introduce a notice of motion this evening? Okay, not seeing that, so let's turn to item 14 on our agenda. For item 14, are there any announcements that would be of benefit to our community or that reflect well on North Perth at this time? Councillor Girdle, let's begin with you.
Thanks, Mr. Giesberg. I have two announcements. First, just a reminder to council that the 2025 budget visioning form is due this Wednesday on September 18th. And if you are requiring any assistance, please just reach out to Mackenzie Smith. And then my second announcement, I would like to congratulate the Palmerston and District Hospital Foundation. They reached $6 million in their $8 million target through the MRI project in Palmerston. So they have $2 more million to go in the next 18 months. So I'd like to congratulate them on their work so far.
Thank you, Councillor Nordum. Anyone else with announcements of benefit to the community? Okay, I'm not seeing any tonight. That means we're at item 15 on our agenda. We have no matters for consideration or closed session of the council meeting. That means that for item 16, we have nothing to report about because a meeting did not happen. Council, as a mandated good practice, acts near the end of its meeting agenda to confirm all of its actions and business of its meeting through what is called the confirmatory bylaw. I have an enabling resolution to that end for this bylaw as follows. Bylaw 81-2024, being a bylaw to confirm generally previous actions of the council of the municipality of North Perth, is hereby passed. Can I call on Councillor Richardson to be our mover for this? So moved. I see him nodding his head. He's putting up his hand.
Yes, I move that.
Thank you,
Wrong
Councillor
mouse.
Richardson. And our seconder will be Councillor Rothwell. Thank you. Any discussion or debate on this one? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. And that brings us to the moment of bliss. We have the opportunity to adjourn this evening at this hour because we have completed the deliberation and taken action on the business that has come before us tonight. I have the resolution to adjourn as follows: that the council meeting adjourns at 8:28 p.m. to meet again for general council business on Monday, October 7th, 2024 at 7 p.m. So I call for mover Councillor Anstead. Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Nordum. And it's not debatable, so let's have that vote. And that is carried. Our next regular council meeting is Monday, October 7th, 2024. Colleagues, if you haven't filled out the budget vision form, please do this week. And until that time, October 7th,